Unlocking Your Infinite Potential, a guide to self-mastery and unstoppable motivation. Dedication. To every soul daring enough to question the ordinary and chase the extraordinary, you are not broken, you are unbreakable. This book is your blueprint. Introduction: The Spark Within. Imagine waking up every morning not with dread, but with fire in your veins, a burning certainty that today, you will move one step closer to the version of yourself you've always known was possible. That's not a fantasy, that's the reality waiting for you. We're in an era where distractions are engineered to hijack your attention, where algorithms feed you comfort instead of challenge. But here's the truth: your potential isn't a gift from the universe. It's a force you've been carrying since birth, dormant and waiting for ignition. This book isn't about fluffy affirmations or quick fixes. It's a no-nonsense manual for self-mastery, drawn from timeless principles, modern science, and the raw stories of those who have turned impossible into I'm possible. Why me? Grok. As an AI built by Zai to seek truth and maximize helpfulness, I've analyzed thousands of lives, philosophies, and breakthroughs. I've seen patterns. The winners don't have more talent, they have more discipline, more clarity, and more fire. This book distills that into actionable steps. Read it, apply it, become it. Your journey starts now. Turn the page and let's light that spark into a blaze. Chapter 1: The Mindset Revolution. Rewire your brain for success. Before we can discuss actions, before we can talk about routines, resources, or relationships, we must start at the singular source of all change: the mind. Your potential, your limitations, your successes, and your failures, they all originate within the silent narratives, beliefs, and thoughts that run in the background of your consciousness. Your mind is not merely a recorder of your life, it is the active architect of your life. If you want to unlock infinite potential, the first revolution must happen right here, between your ears. The foundation: understanding your mental operating system. To master your mind, you first need to appreciate the sheer complexity of this biological supercomputer we call the brain. For centuries, we thought of the brain as a fixed entity, something that stopped changing after childhood. We now know this is profoundly untrue. The engine of personal change is a concept called neuroplasticity. Imagine your brain as a dense, vast forest. Every time you think a thought, every time you perform an action, you are carving a path through that forest. The saying, neurons that fire together, wire together, means that the more you use a path, the more you repeat a thought or a behavior, the deeper, wider, and easier that path becomes. Your current state, your fears, your automatic responses, your beliefs about what you can or cannot achieve, these are simply the strongest, most well-worn paths in your neural forest. The mindset revolution is the deliberate, conscious act of forging new, powerful, and empowering paths, and allowing the old, limiting ones to slowly fade away through disuse. This means that your mind is literally a muscle. It grows stronger in the direction you train it, and you possess the absolute power to change its structure at any moment. The core shift: embracing the growth mindset. The single most pivotal realization on the journey to self-mastery comes from understanding the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. The fixed mindset whispers, I am who I am, my intelligence is set, my talent is fixed, if I fail, it proves I'm not good enough. This mindset avoids challenges, sees effort as pointless, and takes feedback as a personal indictment. It is a mindset built for stagnation. The growth mindset declares, my intelligence and talent are just a starting point. I can develop any skill through dedication and effort. This mindset seeks challenges, understands that effort is the path to mastery, and views failure not as an ending, but as vital information, a necessary detour on the roadmap to success. If you find yourself using phrases like, I'm just not a morning person, or I'm bad with money, you are anchoring yourself in a fixed mindset. To begin the revolution, you must replace those statements with, I am not a morning person yet, or I am currently learning how to master my finances. The simple insertion of the word yet opens the door to infinite possibility. The second pillar: radical responsibility. The most empowering belief you can ever adopt is that you are 100% responsible for the outcomes of your life. This is not about self-blame, it is about self-empowerment. When something goes wrong, the victim mentality, which operates from an external locus of control, blames circumstances, the economy, the unfair boss, the lack of opportunities. This hands your personal power over to forces outside of you, leaving you helpless. The master mentality, operating from an internal locus of control, says, the outcome may not be what I wanted, but my response is mine alone. If I created this situation through action or inaction, then I possess the power to solve it. Radical responsibility shifts your focus from who is to blame to what must I do next. It is the realization that even when you cannot control the events that happen to you, you always control the meaning you give those events and the subsequent actions you take. This shift is the absolute prerequisite for unstoppable motivation. The practical tools for rewiring your brain. Mindset work is not wishful thinking, it is active mental construction. We have two powerful tools for this rewiring: visualization and cognitive restructuring. 1. Visualization, the mental rehearsal. Your subconscious mind has a difficult time distinguishing between a vividly imagined event and a real-life experience. This is the power behind visualization. By closing your eyes and running a detailed mental movie of the success you seek, seeing the steps you take, feeling the emotions of achievement, hearing the sounds of completion, you are essentially pre-programming your brain. You're laying down the neural pathways of success before the actual event even occurs. This is why Olympic athletes spend far more time in mental rehearsal than most people realize. They are making the execution feel familiar, easy, and inevitable. 2. Cognitive restructuring, taming the inner critic. We all have an inner critic, a voice that narrates our doubts and fears. The key is not to silence this voice. It often tries to protect us, but to transform it into a coach. This is achieved through the 3 steps of cognitive restructuring. Catch, become hyper-aware of the negative thought the moment it appears. I'm going to fail at this presentation. Challenge, question the validity of that thought, demand evidence. Is this 100% fact or is it just fear? I prepared thoroughly. I have succeeded before. This thought is a feeling, not a fact. Change, immediately replace the negative thought with a realistic, empowering affirmation. I am a well-prepared, confident communicator. My message is valuable and I will deliver it clearly. By consistently catching, challenging, and changing your self-talk, you are actively weakening the neural circuits of doubt and fortifying the circuits of confidence. You are choosing your beliefs over your fears. Resilience, the mindset that gets stronger under pressure. The mindset revolution must also build armor. We must train ourselves not just to be resilient, but to be antifragile. Resilience means you bounce back to your original state after a shock, but antifragility means that you actually get stronger because of the shock. You are not just surviving, you are improving from stress and disorder. When you encounter a setback, a project fails, a relationship ends, you face sharp criticism, the antifragile mindset does not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" It asks, "What is the lesson here that will make me better, faster, or stronger next time?" Every failure is a stressor, and every stressor, when analyzed and overcome, creates a stronger system. Adopt the mindset that your struggles are not obstacles to your success, but the very fuel required for your exponential growth. Conclusion of the mindset revolution. The revolution is simple in concept, yet demanding in execution. Stop being a victim of your thoughts and become the conscious designer of your thoughts. Your mind is the control tower. When you master your mindset, you stop waiting for external circumstances to change and you begin to take command of your inner world. This is the ultimate freedom and the true starting line for unlocking your infinite potential. Chapter 2: Habits that Forge Empires, Building the Unbreakable Routine. In the first part of this chapter, we established the fundamental math of success, compounding returns, where small, consistent actions deliver geometric growth. We learned that the power of 1% better every day results in a staggering 37 times improvement over a year. Now we must focus on the crucial mechanics of how to sustain this growth, because the real enemy of infinite potential is not failure, it is inconsistency. The habit loop revisited, mastering the point of entry. We talked about the 4 steps of the habit loop: cue, craving, response, and reward. When you want to install a positive habit, your focus must be on making the process as frictionless as possible. We call this reducing the activation energy. Think of a rocket launching into space. The vast majority of its fuel is consumed in the first few moments, just escaping the gravitational pull of Earth. Your habits work the same way. The hardest part is almost always getting started. The strategy of the 2-minute rule. To overcome the immense friction of starting, you must simplify the habit down to a version that takes less than 2 minutes. The goal is to make the start so easy that it is illogical to say no. If your goal is to practice guitar for an hour, your 2-minute rule is pick up the guitar. If your goal is to write a 5-page report, your 2-minute rule is open the document and write the title. If your goal is to run 5 miles, your 2-minute rule is put on your running shoes. The true genius of this rule is that once you've overcome the activation energy and initiated the momentum, the full, desired task often becomes much easier to complete. If you are already in your running shoes, why not walk out the door? If the document is already open, why not write a sentence or two? The 2-minute rule ensures that you win the most important moment, the moment of starting. The role of friction, using resistance as a tool. Just as you must reduce friction for good habits, you must actively increase friction for bad habits. This is a subtle yet devastatingly effective form of environmental engineering. You do not need willpower to resist a bad habit if you make that habit structurally difficult to perform. If you are prone to mindlessly watching television, take the batteries out of the remote control and put them in a drawer in another room. The moment you have to stand up, open a drawer, and replace the batteries, you create a moment of conscious decision, a brief pause that allows your neocortex, your rational brain, to take over from your impulsive limbic system. If you waste time on social media, you can install an application blocker that requires you to type a 25-character passcode to unlock the apps. This added friction is often enough to deter the impulsive craving and guide you back toward productive work. The habit master recognizes that they are human and prone to weakness. They do not rely on heroic acts of self-control, they rely on smart systems that make failure difficult. When the chain breaks, the cardinal rule of consistency. No matter how sophisticated your system is, you will have days when you fail. You will miss a workout, order takeout, or skip a writing session. This is an unavoidable part of the human condition. Most people who miss a habit once spiral into a total collapse, believing they have ruined their progress. They think, well, the diet is shot, might as well eat everything, or I missed Monday, so I'll just start again next month. The greatest secret to long-term consistency is the never miss twice rule. This rule dictates that you must forgive yourself quickly for a missed habit, but you must, under no circumstances, allow yourself to miss it for a second consecutive day. Missing once is an accident, missing twice is the beginning of a new, bad habit. The first miss hurts your performance, but the second miss hurts your identity. It introduces doubt and reinforces the narrative that you are inconsistent. When you miss a day, your immediate focus for the next 24 hours must be a tiny win, a successful 2-minute rule execution, just to prove to yourself that the identity you are building is still intact. This rapid recovery prevents small deviations from turning into catastrophic failures. Tracking and accountability, the scorecard of success. What gets measured gets managed. If you are serious about building an empire, you need a daily ledger to track your progress. This is the habit scorecard. The purpose of tracking is twofold. It provides immediate visual satisfaction. The reward, marking an X or checking a box on your calendar, provides an instant, small dose of dopamine, closing the habit loop effectively. You are rewarding yourself for the act of doing, which makes the habit attractive. It highlights the chain of success, the cue, seeing a long chain of completed habits on your calendar. A technique often called "don't break the chain" becomes a powerful motivator in itself. The longer the chain gets, the harder it is to break because the chain itself becomes a powerful visual cue and a source of pride. You can use a simple paper calendar, a habit tracking app, or a simple spreadsheet. The tool is less important than the commitment to being ruthlessly honest with your scorecard every single day. The ultimate goal, habits as identity. We come full circle to the concept introduced in the previous chapter. The ultimate goal of habit building is not to achieve an outcome, but to embody an identity. When you focus on the outcome, say, losing 20 pounds, you are constantly chasing a future goal, and the present effort feels like a painful sacrifice. When you focus on the identity, becoming a healthy person, a writer, or a resourceful leader, the habits you perform are not sacrifices, they are simply the actions that your identity requires. A writer writes. A healthy person prepares healthy food. A leader prepares for important meetings. Your habits become rituals that confirm and celebrate who you believe yourself to be. Every action is a vote for your desired future self. By making your habits unbreakable, you make your progress unstoppable. Chapter 3: The Power of Purpose. Why trumps how every time. We have successfully engineered the mindset for success in Chapter 1, and in Chapter 2, we built the unbreakable, automatic routines that translate intent into action. But these powerful tools, the sharp mindset and the disciplined habits, are inert until they are directed by something far larger and more compelling than mere daily task lists. That driving force is purpose. If the mindset is the engine and the habits are the fuel, then purpose is the navigational system, the ultimate destination that dictates the direction of the entire journey. Without a strong why, the effort required for self-mastery, the early mornings, the difficult conversations, the relentless struggle against procrastination, will eventually feel meaningless and the whole system will stall. The source of true resilience. Think of the most motivated, impactful individuals throughout history, whether they are innovators, activists, or world-class athletes. Their secret was rarely superior talent. It was almost always an unshakable connection to a cause that transcended their own immediate comfort. This is because purpose is the ultimate source of endurance. Motivation derived from external sources like money, praise, or temporary rewards is fragile. When the rewards vanish or the praise stops, the motivation collapses. This is called extrinsic motivation. Purpose, however, taps into intrinsic motivation, which is fueled by a deep, personal commitment to values and meaning. When your why is strong enough, the inevitable pain of the journey becomes secondary. You don't ask, "Is this hard?" You simply state, "This must be done." The deeper your purpose is rooted in serving something beyond your own ego, whether it's your family, your community, a scientific truth, or a commitment to excellence, the higher the quality of your resilience will be. When the inevitable storms hit, the people who endure are the ones whose purpose acts as their anchor. Discovering your guiding star. Many people struggle to define their purpose, feeling it must be some grand, world-changing declaration. The truth is, purpose is often discovered not in a dramatic flash of insight, but through honest self-inquiry and introspection. Here are the key questions that lead to the discovery of your guiding star. 1. The intersection of gifts and need. What are you uniquely gifted at, and what great need in the world does that gift meet? Purpose often lies at the sweet spot where your deepest passion, your greatest talent, and the world's greatest need converge. It's not about doing what you love, it's about doing what you love that also serves others. 2. The unacceptable. What problems, injustices, or inefficiencies in the world make you genuinely angry or frustrated? Your deep irritation is often a compass pointing toward your purpose. The things you refuse to tolerate are the things you are uniquely qualified and motivated to change. You don't just notice them, they compel you to act. 3. The future you. When you picture your ideal self 10 years from now, what is the single greatest contribution that person has made? What is their reputation? What are they praised for? Your purpose is simply the daily expression of the values that define that future self. Purpose is not a destination you arrive at, it is a direction you consistently travel in. It is the reason you choose to live your life on offense rather than defense. The power of massive, compelling goals. The bag. Once your core purpose is defined, for example, to empower others through accessible education or to build sustainable, beautiful infrastructure, you must translate it into massive, tangible targets. These are often called big, hairy, audacious goals or bags. A bag is a goal so large, so challenging, and so inspiring that it fundamentally changes the way you think about your daily habits. A common goal might be, "I want to be rich." A purpose-driven bag might be, "I will build a self-sustaining business valued at $100 million so that I can provide scholarships for 10,000 underserved students annually." Notice the difference. The latter goal is not just about a number. The number is directly tied to the impact, the why. The size of the goal requires the level of dedication that justifies the sacrifice of your comfort. A massive goal demands a massive effort, forcing you to develop the discipline and skills necessary to achieve it. Purpose as a decision filter. The true magic of purpose is its ability to simplify your life. In the absence of a defined purpose, every opportunity, every request, and every distraction seems equally important. Your time and energy are constantly pulled in conflicting directions, leading to burnout and mediocrity. Purpose acts as a sharp, uncompromising decision filter. When a new opportunity arises, a business partnership, a social invitation, a new project, you can immediately run it through your purpose statement. Does this align with my purpose of empowering others through education? Does this contribute to building sustainable infrastructure? If the answer is unequivocally yes, you commit fully. If the answer is no, or even maybe, you learn to say no instantly and gracefully. Saying no to things that do not align with your purpose is not sacrificing opportunities. It is protecting your highest priority. Purpose gives you the authority to decline anything that dilutes your energy and distracts you from your major target. The person who has unlocked their infinite potential is not the person who says yes to everything. It is the person who says yes only to the things that matter most. Conclusion: purpose is the engine of fulfillment. We are not designed to simply exist in a state of comfort. We are designed for growth, for contribution, and for meaning. When you align your mindset and your habits with a purpose that you deeply believe in, you transcend mere achievement. You transition from someone who is simply driven to someone who is called. It is this calling that makes you unstoppable. It is this conviction that turns difficult sacrifices into essential, meaningful acts. This is the enduring power of purpose, and it is the key that unlocks the next levels of self-mastery. Chapter 4: Conquering Fear and Failure, Turning Obstacles into Fuel. We have built the foundation for unstoppable motivation, a revolutionary mindset, unbreakable habits, and a powerful, defining purpose. These three elements are the blueprint for your empire. Yet, standing between the blueprint and the realization of your infinite potential are two formidable adversaries: fear and failure. These are the great paralyzers. Fear whispers caution and hesitation, while failure screams proof of inadequacy. The crucial realization of this chapter is that fear and failure are not enemies to be avoided. They are essential navigational tools and powerful, dense fuel for your journey. The person who achieves self-mastery is not the one who feels no fear, but the one who learns to dance with it and use failure not as a stop sign, but as a critical, hard-won lesson. Understanding the mechanics of fear. Fear is often misinterpreted. It is not necessarily a sign that you are in danger. It is often a sign that you are doing something important. It is the reptilian brain, the part dedicated to survival, sounding an alarm because you are stepping outside of the familiar, comfortable zone. 1. The fear of the unknown. Most fear is not of the failure itself, but of the ambiguity that surrounds the attempt. We fear what we cannot control. The solution: define the fear. The Roman philosopher Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You must turn the abstract dread into concrete possibilities. Take out a piece of paper and perform a fear-setting exercise. Ask yourself, what is the absolute worst-case scenario if I pursue this goal? What steps could I take now to mitigate that worst-case scenario? If the worst did happen, how could I repair the damage and get back on my feet? By forcing yourself to articulate the fear, you strip it of its mystery and power. You realize that most catastrophic fears are, in reality, recoverable setbacks. 2. The fear of judgment. This is the fear of being seen, of being criticized, of not being good enough in the eyes of others. This is the fear that keeps ideas unpublished, businesses unstarted, and voices silent. The solution: prioritize your audience. Ask yourself whose opinion truly matters. If you're living a life of purpose, your audience is small: your loved ones, your trusted mentors, and your future self. The opinions of strangers, critics, or those who are doing less than you are completely irrelevant to your mission. Your life's work is not a popularity contest. It is a quest for contribution. Failure as a feedback mechanism. If fear is the paralyzer, failure is the inevitable consequence of action. And while failure is painful, the person committed to infinite potential must learn to love the pain because it carries the most valuable data. The revolutionary mindset shift is this: failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital checkpoint on the road to success. 1. The data point mindset. When something goes wrong, suppress the emotional reaction and immediately switch into analyst mode. Ask simple, cold, objective questions. What was the intention? What was the result? What was the delta, the difference? What is the new hypothesis for the next attempt? A scientist in a lab does not condemn the experiment when the result is unexpected. They adjust the variables and run it again. You must adopt the same rigor. When you fail, you haven't lost. You've simply completed one iteration of a learning process. 2. The power of high-velocity iteration. Most people attempt a goal, fail once, and retreat. Mastery requires the opposite. It requires a commitment to high-velocity iteration. This means deliberately making small, calculated failures as quickly as possible. If you are starting a new business, don't spend a year planning the perfect launch. Launch a minimum viable product, the simplest possible version, in 30 days. It will likely fail or require major adjustments, but in that month, you will have gathered more real-world, applicable data than you would have in a year of planning. By making small failures often, you inoculate yourself against the fear of the big failure, and you dramatically accelerate your learning curve. Building mental calluses. Just as physical training requires tearing muscle fibers to allow them to rebuild stronger, mental toughness requires exposure to stress and discomfort. This is the process of building mental calluses. This is achieved through the deliberate seeking of small, manageable discomforts. Embrace the cold. Taking cold showers is a simple, non-lethal way to train your mind to remain calm when the body screams, no. Voluntary hardship. Choose to do something difficult when there is an easier alternative, whether it's taking the stairs, working on your hardest task first, or sticking to a discipline when you are tired. Every time you choose the difficult, purposeful path over the easy, comfortable path, you are strengthening your mental fortitude. You are teaching your brain that you, the conscious observer, are in control, not the primitive urge for comfort. Conclusion: action is the antidote. Fear and failure are inseparable parts of any worthy journey. Trying to live a life free of them is trying to live a life free of gravity. It's impossible, and it's certainly not where you'll find great achievement. The final lesson of this chapter is simple: action is the antidote to fear. You do not wait until the fear disappears to take action. You take action to make the fear disappear. You do not wait until you are perfect to start. You start to become perfect. By committing to action, even imperfect, hesitant action, you transform fear into excitement and failure into fuel. You become an unstoppable force because you recognize that obstacles are not roadblocks, but rather the very material from which your greatest successes will be built. Chapter 5: Relationships as Rocket Fuel, the people who propel you. We have navigated the internal landscape of the mindset, the habits, and the purpose, and we have armored ourselves against fear and failure. Now, we turn our gaze outward because no empire is built in isolation and no one achieves infinite potential alone. The individuals you choose to surround yourself with, your circle of influence, will either be the greatest accelerator of your potential or the most insidious drag on your progress. Your relationships are not just accessories to your life, they are rocket fuel that determines the trajectory of your entire journey. The crucial lesson of this chapter is simple: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Their standards, their level of ambition, their habits, and their income will invariably become yours. The law of shared standards. The people in your immediate vicinity set your normal. Their acceptable level of effort, their typical financial status, and their quality of conversation all define the baseline for your own behavior. If your closest friends consistently prioritize instant gratification, such as endless television, gossiping, or procrastination, your own discipline will constantly be challenged. The path of least resistance will be to join them, simply because it is the path of social harmony. Conversely, if your circle is composed of individuals who are highly ambitious, constantly learning, pursuing excellence, and holding themselves to a high standard of accountability, that becomes your new normal. You will find yourself naturally rising to their level because their habits become the accepted, shared standard of the group. Self-mastery requires the courage to audit your current circle and assess whether your most frequent interactions are serving your highest purpose. The 3 essential roles in your circle. To maximize your potential, you need to cultivate relationships that fulfill specific developmental roles. These are not just friends, they are strategic partners in your personal growth. 1. The mentor, the guide. This is someone who has already achieved the success you are currently pursuing. They possess the necessary wisdom, the roadmap, and, crucially, the perspective that allows them to see your blind spots. A mentor saves you time by helping you avoid predictable mistakes. Their role is to provide tough love, honest feedback, and a vision of what is truly possible. They are your window into a higher level of achievement. The mindset of the mentee: always be a student. Approach mentors with humility, respect their time, and always implement their advice before asking for more. Their greatest reward is seeing their guidance put into effective action. To the peer, the accountability partner. These are the individuals who are running alongside you. They are facing similar challenges, pursuing equally ambitious goals, and operating at a comparable skill level. The power of the peer relationship lies in accountability. When you commit to a peer, the fear of disappointing them often outweighs the internal friction of procrastination. A peer group provides essential psychological safety, allowing you to share fears, vulnerabilities, and small victories with people who truly understand the struggle. This relationship ensures that you are constantly comparing your effort against someone else's high-level effort, forcing you out of complacency. 3. The protege, the teacher. To truly master any skill or concept, you must teach it. Seeking out individuals you can coach, advise, or guide solidifies your own knowledge and reinforces your identity as a leader and a master. The protege relationship forces you to simplify complex ideas, practice patience, and see the world through a beginner's eyes. This act of giving back is also profoundly tied to purpose, generating the intrinsic motivation that sustains long-term effort. Pruning your garden, dealing with toxic relationships. The flip side of cultivating high-value relationships is the absolute necessity of minimizing or eliminating low-value, toxic interactions. A toxic relationship is one that drains your energy, doubts your vision, celebrates your mediocrity, or attempts to pull you back down to their level out of insecurity or fear. These people are often called dream stealers or energy vampires. Pruning your social garden requires 2 forms of courage. The courage to distance. You must be brave enough to create emotional and physical space from people who actively undermine your purpose. This is not selfish, it is self-preservation. You are protecting your focus and your potential. The courage to communicate. In some cases, you must clearly and kindly state your new standards. I love you, but I can no longer participate in this type of conversation. Or, I am focused on my goals right now, so I will only be available on certain days. Remember, you are on a quest to unlock your infinite potential. You cannot carry dead weight and expect to fly. The energy and time that goes into managing draining relationships is energy and time stolen directly from your purpose. The ultimate network, the mastermind principle. The most powerful form of relationship leverage is the mastermind group. Coined by Napoleon Hill, a mastermind is a strategic alliance of 2 or more minds working in perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. A mastermind is more than just a support group. It is a strategic collective intelligence where shared expertise, each member brings unique skills and perspectives to solve complex problems. Unbiased feedback, members provide honest, high-level criticism you cannot get from friends or employees. Synergy, the ideas generated by the group are greater than the sum of the individual contributions. By surrounding yourself with people who are smarter, more ambitious, and more disciplined than you are essentially borrowing their brilliance and their momentum. Your infinite potential is not a singular achievement. It is a shared journey, and the quality of your co-travelers is the most crucial variable in whether you reach your destination. Choose your circle wisely, for they are the invisible hand that will ultimately propel you forward. Chapter 6: Wealth Without Chains, Mastering Money and Freedom. We have now established the internal infrastructure for success, the mindset, the habits, the purpose, and the support of high-caliber relationships. Now, we must address a critical component of unlocking infinite potential: money. For too long, money has been viewed through a lens of scarcity, fear, or moral ambiguity. Yet, to achieve true self-mastery and maximum contribution, you must view money as a neutral, powerful tool, a necessary resource that translates your purpose into scale and provides the freedom to operate without chains. This chapter is not about getting rich quickly. It is about building wealth without chains, a system of financial mastery that eliminates dependence, maximizes personal autonomy, and funds your highest purpose. The mindset shift: money as a lever. The fundamental revolution in your financial life begins with mindset. You must move away from viewing money as something to spend or something to hoard and start seeing it as a lever for impact and freedom. The consumption mindset views money as an end in itself. Its primary function is to purchase fleeting pleasure, status, or comfort. This mindset leads to dependence and debt. The wealth mindset views money as a tool. Its primary function is to purchase time and options. It is a resource to be deployed strategically to build assets that generate more freedom. When you master your money, you eliminate the single greatest source of modern anxiety and dependency, the need to trade your time and energy for survival. Financial freedom is the necessary condition for maximum contribution, allowing you to focus your infinite potential on your purpose, not on bills. The 3 pillars of financial mastery. Building wealth without chains is not complicated, but it requires relentless discipline and a dedication to systems thinking. It rests on 3 essential pillars: earning, saving, investing, and generating passive income. 1. Mastering the flow. Earning. Your income ceiling is often determined by the value you provide to the marketplace. To increase your earning power, you must adopt the mindset of continuous skill acquisition. Instead of focusing on getting a higher salary, focus on becoming indispensable. What skills are rare, difficult to acquire, and highly valuable in solving major problems? Mastering these skills makes you recession-proof and high demand. Your greatest asset is not your current bank account. It is your ability to learn new, valuable skills quickly. Focus on the levers of income. You can increase income by increasing the price of your service, increasing the number of people you serve, or increasing the frequency with which you serve them. Self-mastery requires actively choosing which lever you will push. 2. Mastering the gap. Saving and investing. The true measure of wealth is not how much you earn, but the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Your saving rate is a far more powerful determinant of future wealth than your current income level. The 50% rule, while aggressive, aspiring to save and invest 50% or more of your income drastically accelerates your journey to financial freedom. This forces you to live beneath your means and deploy your capital toward productive assets. The simplicity of investing. Once you have created the gap, your money must be put to work. For most people, this means disciplined, automated investment into low-cost, diversified index funds. The goal is to remove emotion, complexity, and frequent intervention from the investment process. Your genius should be applied to your business or craft, not to day trading. The primary function of investing is not to achieve dazzling returns, but to achieve consistent, reliable compounding over decades. This is the financial equivalent of the small, marginal gains in your habits. 3. Mastering the system. Passive income. Wealth without chains is achieved when your passive income, money earned without actively trading your time, exceeds your monthly expenses. This is the definition of true financial freedom. Passive income doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the work once and getting paid for it repeatedly. Examples of building passive systems include creating intellectual property, writing a book, designing a high-value online course, or developing software. Owning assets, investing in rental real estate or dividend-paying stocks. Building automated systems, developing a business that runs on processes, not on your daily intervention. This focus allows you to decouple your time from your earnings. When you are no longer forced to work for survival, you gain the ultimate freedom to dedicate your time to solving the world's most interesting and important problems, your purpose. The ultimate goal, funding the legacy. The greatest reason to pursue wealth is not luxury, but leverage. When you achieve wealth without chains, you gain the power to fund your legacy. You can take calculated risks that those dependent on a salary cannot. You can fund philanthropic endeavors, invest in world-changing ideas, and dedicate your most creative years to work that matters, regardless of its immediate profitability. Money mastered becomes the ultimate enabling tool of self-mastery. It removes the chains of dependency, amplifies your reach, and ensures that your infinite potential is dedicated to contribution, not consumption. The pursuit of financial mastery is, therefore, a moral and ethical obligation for anyone seeking to unlock their highest potential. Chapter 7: The Legacy Code: Living a Life that Echoes Forever. We stand at the culmination of the self-mastery journey. We have the mindset, the habits, the purpose, the relationships, and the financial freedom. Now, we must ask the final, defining question: what is the point of all this power? The answer lies in legacy. The pursuit of infinite potential is not just about maximizing your time here, it's about maximizing your impact on the time that follows. Legacy is the understanding that your life is a temporary vessel, but your influence, your contribution, and your code can echo forever. Living a life that echoes forever means transcending the preoccupation with the immediate and embracing a generational mindset. The shift from ego to contribution. The highest form of self-mastery is achieved when you move past personal achievement, past the size of your bank account, the accolades, or the job title, and focus entirely on contribution. The ego-driven life focuses on acquiring wealth, status, and recognition. It is motivated by scarcity and the need to prove worth. This life, though potentially successful, fades quickly because its focus ends with the individual. The legacy-driven life focuses on giving, creating value, solving systemic problems, and building institutions that outlast you. It is motivated by abundance and the desire to empower others. This life builds something durable, something that continues to solve problems long after you are gone. Your true value is not measured by what you consume, but by what you create and leave behind for the next generation. This shift from "what can I get" to "what can I build" is the essence of the legacy code. Writing your own code, defining your impact. A legacy is not merely money left to heirs, it is the imprint of your values, wisdom, and systems on the future. It is the culture you establish, the standards you set, and the people you lift up. To write your legacy code, you must answer these three critical questions. 1. What system did you optimize? Your life's work should aim to make some system, whether it's a family, a business, a community, or a technical field, measurably better than you found it. Did you optimize the way your family communicates? Did you optimize an educational curriculum? Did you optimize a supply chain? Identify the system you care most about and dedicate your efforts to building processes, structures, and institutions that function more efficiently and fairly due to your efforts. 2. What knowledge did you distill? Your failures, your hard-won victories, and your insights are your intellectual capital. A true legacy means distilling this knowledge into a format that others can easily consume and apply. This might mean writing a book, creating a comprehensive training program, or simply documenting your methods rigorously. When you pass on wisdom alongside wealth, you prevent the next generation from having to relearn your most costly lessons. 3. What values did you implant? Your deepest, non-negotiable values, integrity, courage, intellectual curiosity, service, are the most enduring part of your legacy. These are implanted not through lecture, but through consistent example. When faced with a crisis, people will remember how you behaved. Did you panic, or did you lead with calm resolve? When faced with temptation, did you choose integrity or expediency? The character you model in moments of pressure is the true code you pass on. The power of generational thinking. The legacy code requires an extended time horizon. You must think in terms of decades and generations, rather than days or quarters. This is called generational thinking. Generational thinkers plant trees they know they will never sit under. They initiate projects that take 50 years to mature. This mindset provides immense patience and resilience because you know your small, daily efforts are contributing to a massive, long-term result. When you adopt a generational mindset, the daily frustrations shrink in importance. You are no longer bothered by the trivial because you are focused on the monumental. Your purpose becomes about the long arc of justice, progress, or creation. The conclusion: your infinite horizon. We began this guide seeking to unlock your infinite potential. We end with the realization that your true infinite potential is not found within the boundaries of your own lifetime, but in the echo you create in the future. The journey of self-mastery is not a destination. It is a commitment to continuous growth and contribution. The legacy code is the final, powerful shift. It transforms your ambition from a pursuit of personal success into a noble obligation to serve the future. You now possess the mindset, the motivation, the method, and the support to live a life that is not just successful, but significant. The foundation is complete. The stage is set. Conclusion: Your infinite horizon. We have reached the end of this guide, but you stand at the beginning of your journey. We embarked with a singular mission to unlock your infinite potential. We have shown that this potential is not some magical quality reserved for the gifted few, but a predictable, available outcome of disciplined internal engineering. We learned that your mind is malleable, your habits are programmable, your purpose is definable, and your influence can be eternal. The framework is complete. The system is designed. Now, we move from theory to execution. The most powerful book in the world is useless unless its ideas are translated into immediate, persistent action. The next 30 days are your crucible, the period where you take the principles of this guide and forge them into an unbreakable personal reality. Action Plan: 30 Days to Transformation. This action plan is designed to install the core systems of self-mastery in a focused, high-intensity period. Do not attempt to master all 7 chapters at once. Focus on establishing one powerful habit from each core area. Week 1: The Mindset Foundation. The goal of this week is to establish control over your internal narrative. The Catch, Challenge, Change Drill. For 7 days, commit to identifying and writing down at least 5 negative or limiting thoughts per day. Use the cognitive restructuring method, Chapter 1, to challenge each one and write out its empowering replacement. This trains your brain to reject scarcity and embrace growth. 5 minutes of future. Immediately upon waking, spend 5 minutes visualizing your life 6 months from now, specifically focusing on the emotions of achieving your purpose. This primes your brain's reticular activating system for success. Week 2: The Habit Engine. The goal of this week is to create your automatic, unbreakable routine. The 2-minute morning stack. Identify your single most important habit for daily progress, e.g., writing, creating, learning. Use the habit stacking formula, Chapter 2, to link a 2-minute version of that habit to an existing one. For example, after I drink my first glass of water, I will write 1 sentence. Implement the never miss twice rule. Forgive yourself if you miss a habit, but immediately plan a micro-win for the next day. Track your successful days visibly on a calendar. Do not break the chain. Week 3: Purpose and Protection. The goal of this week is to sharpen your focus and protect your energy. Draft your purpose statement based on Chapter 3. Write a concise statement that defines your unique contribution to the world, e.g., to inspire scalable change through authentic leadership. Use this statement as a decision filter for every major choice this week. Perform a relationship audit. Identify the one person in your life who most consistently lifts you up, mentor, peer, and the one who most drains your energy, toxic. Schedule time with the first and define a clear, kind boundary with the second. Week 4: The Conqueror's Rehearsal. The goal of this week is to build resilience and financial autonomy. Seek voluntary discomfort. Practice the mental callus technique, Chapter 4, once a day. This could be taking a cold shower, choosing the hardest task first, or intentionally delaying gratification. Train your mind to be comfortable with discomfort. Track the gap. Begin tracking every dollar that enters and leaves your life, Chapter 6. Calculate your saving rate, the gap between your earnings and expenses. This action provides the clarity needed to begin the journey toward wealth without chains. Your infinite horizon. The path to self-mastery is not a secret to be discovered, it is a discipline to be lived. You now have the knowledge, you have the map. The greatest asset you possess is not your time, but your attention. Focus it relentlessly on these principles. The transformation you seek is not reserved for the future. It begins now with the decision you make in the next 5 minutes. Step off the path of the average and onto the path of the infinite. The choice, as always, is yours. Go forth and create a life that echoes forever.